What kind of cloud of fear do you live under that you needed to lie about eating roast beef that you purchased?
Well, she purchased that roast beef. She brought it home from like takeout or something.
Got it. And it was her roast beef?
Yeah.
You've mentioned that she gets kind of Gollum-like about food.
Oh. Last night in this house.
I got a bone to pick with you on PMZ, by the way.
What did I do?
You're recommending bad shit to people.
What did I recommend?
We'll get into it.
I don't even remember what I recommended.
Your number one Roger Dunn is Connor. How can I help you?
Hey, Connor, can you send me over to clubs, please?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second.
Nick, do you know what did I recommend on last PMZ?
Can we talk about it on PMZ, please? Get it at patreon.com/anotherpodcast network.
I don't want to fight with you, Dylan.
By the way, this is another podcast show, a show where we gab and goof.
Really, whatever is the top of mind.
Thaddeus.
What's up?
This Thaddeus. How may I help you?
Hey there. I called earlier asking about a used Maverick driver. I was wondering if you guys price match because I'm seeing lightly used on Second Swing and stuff for $200, shrink wrapped.
Let me see. What did they put one on hold for you already?
Well, no, there are just numerous of them. They're on Amazon Second Swing. I don't want to use Amazon, but I'll go to Second Swing. I'd like to come in.
Yeah, we don't match Amazon, but Second Swing. Let me ask if they'll match Second Swing now.
Okay, cool.
Oh, retailers hate when you do this kind of game.
This is an evil enterprise,
That
Roger Dunn.
that you're engaging in.
Well, I mean, it's either that or, and I've done this lately.
Maybe he paid more for his product. Just go buy it where you're finding it cheaper, you bastard.
There aren't a lot of brick and mortar golf establishments, Patrick.
Well, maybe you should support them and stop trying to nickel
and dime?
Yeah.
Who's getting nickeled and dimed here?
Okay, so they said we can match it if it's used. Now, the used means it has to be a trade-in, not one of our 90-day clubs. So if it's a yellow tag, which is a demo tag, we take about $50 off if they buy it within our store. But if somebody trades one in, then it's an orange tag, which is a little bit cheaper, but we can match because we got ours here for $199 on a trade-in.
Oh.
So it's pretty much the same price. We're not going to match the demo price because this is within somebody's 90 days. A Second Swing is a trade-in site, so we'll give you the trade-in price if it's higher, but it's not. We got one here for $199.
Right. I'm talking about, I'm not coming in with anything, though. I just want to buy it from you guys.
No, I'm telling you, like, as far as matching Second Swing,
yeah,
we can only match it on a trade-in club because Second Swing is a trade-in site.
Right, and
so
you guys
do the demo
have...
price, which is, I mean, if it's a demo price, which is $250, we're not taking $50 off of this tag because it is not a trade-in; it's a return.
Right, but you guys have trade-in Mavericks there, right?
I got one.
Hey, Dylan, can you ask him to hold on for a second?
I got one. It's a regular Maverick. It's got an even flow 6.0 stiff in it.
You gotta talk to your team.
Okay, can you hang on one sec?
Yeah.
Dylan, my first day of calculus
and
was
this
less
isn't
confusing.
a good bit. I thought they were going to be much meaner because
the bit.
They usually are. I mean, this company is Sauron. Go ahead. Should I hang up on him or what?
Cut that part out of about a bit. We're not doing a bit.
Okay.
What I was saying is this conversation is extremely confusing to this podcaster.
Oh, it's confusing to me, and I'm a big-time golfer.
I agree. They're playing head games with all these different colored tags and stuff. They're trying to confound. They're trying to confound you into paying $250. You get this for $200.
All right, so you got that one on hold. Lightly used trade-in. I'll just come in and get it for $2.
Yeah, I got one here for $2 for you. What's your first name? I'll put it on hold.
Dylan.
Dylan? All right, cool. I got it on hold right now.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Very polite, Dylan.
Now, unfortunately for show content, I know that guy. He looks like Wiz Khalifa. Cool motherfucker. He's a great dude.
He's the coolest.
everyone over there. You hear Connor? That Braemar Country Club motherfucker? You hear that guy? These people are so disgusting over
What
there.
do you mean by these people?
What's the name of the business?
Roger Dunn.
Go support them.
Don't
I feel like
support them. Do not support them. That was the... You're going to talk about all-time backfires today? All-time backfire. I've only been treated like shit there, except by Wiz. Wiz is the only one that treats me well. But I'm telling you, it's like exchanging Madden video games with any club over there. You go, you bring it in. You paid $375 for it. They'll give you $20 and a sleeve of balls. It's a corrupt organization. I really backfired. I thought I was going to get into a quarrel with those guys.
Well, here's the thing with retail is people, they stay in it too long. Okay, you can't deal with people on a day-to-day basis acting like you and then be able to make a career out of it. It's very annoying. Dylan, you and Nick and myself to a certain degree.
What do you mean acting like me?
I wanted you to finish that thought.
Yeah. What? Hey, put your flamethrower down for a second, huh?
You do a certain degree what?
I make my own way. I don't really have to answer to other people.
Gotcha.
I kind of make my own day. If I don't like someone, I won't work with them. I have that ability. Mm-hmm. When you're in retail, you're being paid a certain amount an hour and maybe some commission.
Not a lot, which begs the question: why are you so confident? I'll hang on. I'll get back to that.
You just have bad luck with some of these places because you mentioned Second Swing on the phone with them.
Right.
Do you remember in 2019 our tooth and nail negotiations with Second Swing? Dylan reached out and said, "I'm an associate producer for the Adam Carolla Show. We've got a couple programs on our network that we'd love to get sponsored by."
Which was a complete lie. I was talking about another Bachelor podcast.
Loosely related to the network.
Well, we were recording in the building.
Yeah, we used the studio.
Sure, yeah.
He knew about it.
That's like if you snuck on to Paramount to shoot a short film and then told financiers that...
You're producing a Paramount film.
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan evidently had a good talk with Sam Cassidy, who worked at Second Swing. And then
no shit. Did you really find these receipts?
Yeah. Email and Google search is incredible.
You couldn't get him to bite, though, huh?
They replied after this good talk, after Sam ran it up the flagpole. By the way, I had a bunch of roommates in after college that all worked at Second Swing. So when I found out it was just a worlds colliding for me.
It's just not a lot of these brokers.
But Sam responded, "Hey, Dylan, thanks for sending this over. As much as I would like to help you guys out, unfortunately, I was shot down by my leadership team. They didn't feel like the content matched what we were trying to do from a brand perspective.
Yeah.
I'll keep working on this and see if I can't get them to say yes. Equipment for marketing is always easy for us, so I might be able to get a yes from them a little later in the season." So I'm actually kind of wondering if old Dylan here snaked a new thing of clubs and didn't tell us.
Well, no, here's what's happening. And I think that the pitch was, I didn't slow roll.
Good pun.
Oh, yeah. Pitch shot.
And slow roll.
Pitch wedge. Slow roll. Yeah, it's fucking Freudian. But I just said we don't want money. I just need clubs.
And then evidently they listened to one of our episodes. And again, we've talked about it. Early APN was a little more racy than some of the content we
were speaking of Homophobia Gate the other night because we just got a review in our Another Below Deck show about
what's the what?
About what are the what's nows. And all the boxes were checked by a lazy, insane person. We're sexist, misogynistic, racist, homophobic, all those. The rainbow of hatred, so to speak. And you were talking about Homophobia Gate, which was a 9-minute PSA episode, 2.5 minutes of which was the entirety of the Love Boat MP3, which I did back then, bad edit mistake. But anyways, it was us yelling about a similar event. It was the first time that people had ever called us homophobic and racist. And I didn't really help my case. I was just screaming about what a giant bitch this woman was. And it came off as a little, intense, sexist, but it was funny.
Should we insert that in here so we can remind the audience of that tirade of yours?
Oh.
Maybe that should go on Patreon APS. We'll repost it.
Yeah. Check us out on Patreon because it's a little dicey. It's a little I really do scream at her and call her the B and all these nasty words. But anyways, all-time backfire. I was so confident. We usually don't do bits like that. And that wasn't a bit. I was just
Did you know that
making
person?
a phone call on a podcast.
Her name was Lady Bulldog. She not only stayed with us, she became a Patreon member.
No.
Yeah, you turned
way.
around. She sent me a message saying, "I used to hate you guys, but I kept listening, and now I'm a." She's like a 60-year-old white lady from Nebraska or something.
God,
like that.
these people are out of their mind.
Just wearing people down. I love it.
Out of their minds. But I was very, very confident that those people were going to say, no, we're not going to price match. And then I would have, again, not a bit, but the questions would have continued from there.
I'm a little suspicious that when you have a dongle plugged in, the mute it doesn't work, because he was evidently laughing at all the places where you would laugh if you could, in fact, hear us.
No, he's just a good guy. He's one of those high on life people that I wish I could be, but I'm just not. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is another podcast show. It's a show where we gab and goof about really whatever is at top of mind, as is evident. I'm Dylan. Settle up next to one real Nicholas Davis.
What's going on, everybody?
Pat, producer of the podcast, over there behind my glasses.
Hello.
I'm mad.
Oh, you're mad?
Yeah, because
At Wiz?
No, never mad at Wiz. I'm mad at Pat because, I rarely bring beer here. You know.
Oh, you're not going to yell at me about a movie that I recommended on
We'll
PMC?
do that on PMZ.
Oh.
Patreon.com/another podcast network. But what did I bring? 12-pack of Miller's?
Oh, that was your beer?
Yes.
Oh.
How was it consumed?
I think my father-in-law, Ruby.
Knew it was Ruby. It was Ruby.
I love Ruby.
Pat, can I ask you something? If Ruby slams down 10 beers in an afternoon, can you just replace them, please?
I didn't realize he did it.
God.
I love Ruby. We always we've had very small interactions, but like, God, he's got $1 million smile. He's one of those people. It makes you happy when you see him. You're like, oh, Ruby, and we don't know anything about each other.
How'd you meet Ruby, which is coincidentally my younger sister's name?
Just oftentimes when I have to pick something up that I left, or I get here earlier to set up, we get in little.
Got it.
Run into each other.
Very
fights?
impressive man. He was homecoming king, grew up in Los Angeles, later became the #1
murderer
car salesperson for the brand Saturn.
Oh, got it.
And then he was a branch manager.
Right.
And simultaneously, him and my wife's mother, they're now divorced, they flipped 5 houses in 1 year, made like $1 million. And also, they opened a jewelry store together. So entrepreneurial spirit. And
Was he the guy that killed?
big time golfer, too.
No.
That is my wife's mother's new husband, John.
Got it.
He's also an impressive man. I mean, look, you do 20 years in the,
In the cling?
in the cling, and then you come out and make something out of yourself.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Homecoming king. Wow.
And my wife's mother was homecoming queen. Real cute picture of that.
They were the couple?
Yeah.
Or they were separate?
Good question. Good question.
That's a beautiful story either way.
Beautiful story, aside
Royalty
from the
found each
ending
other.
of the break in eternal commitment. But
And
see,
I know-
I want to be more like Wiz. I just can't be like Wiz. I'm too pessimistic. I'm trying to shed it.
Can I talk about my wife since we're talking about family, or do you want to go first?
No, I love it. I love
No,
it.
we'll end with all-time backfires. It'll be the bread will be all-time backfire.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, Dylan, I sent you a picture that my wife sent me about an hour ago.
Sure, of
Just make sure. All right. So what I'd like to discuss is, excuse me, the spectrum of a marriage, right? The highs and the lows. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I think I've bragged on this show or some other show that we've done, that for the first 7 years of my wife and I's marriage, we did not fight at all. The only thing, like, there'd just be little.
It creeped us out, to be honest.
Well, we'd like
I don't want to
get
speak
annoyed
for
with
it.
each
It
other.
creeped you out, right?
I was suspicious of it.
Yeah.
But now that he admits that they do now fight, I now know it was real. But evidently, it was like a bad omen. You bragged about it on the show constantly. We never fight. We never.
Well, lots
fight.
changed.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. Having a kid changes it. The doctors, because we're trying to get pregnant again, they got her on all these crazy drugs that fuck with her.
Yeah.
So it can be pretty intense in the house.
She's not even a human anymore, is she, Pat?
Right. So I want to say last night when I got home, I'm not sure where to start. I want to talk about the spectrum of really loving your partner because you know each other so well and you have a good sense of humor, and also the person that can be just horrible human being, and you are like, you go in a room with that they're not in, and you just are in your head going, this person is such a dick.
And I'm still fresh into marriage, 4 years into marriage. How long have you been married? 4 or 5 years? 5
5.
years? 5 years. It's not even isolated to just incidents where you hate someone in an incident or or love them. There are peaks and troughs, periods of love, and I don't know, hate is never an applicable word, but definitely let's not right now look at each other, be around each other. I was talking to my friend Matt the other day about how I'm in one of those periods where I look at my wife and we're just having so much fun together. There's a sparkle in her eye. I love her very much. I know that the doomsday are they're coming.
There's ups and
we'll
downs,
hate each
Dylan.
other soon. But yeah, no, there are
But
ups
the
and
hate
downs.
goes away, and then you love each other again.
Yes.
And again, a hate is not the proper word.
Not
to
the proper
describe
word.
what that feeling is. that
Profound annoyance.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So last night, and I want to get your feelings on this. I think the audience might find this interesting. Our various relationships. So we'll share this. Hold on.
Okay.
So I last night get home after a very, very, very long day.
Right.
I'm extremely tired. And okay. So last 2 weeks ago, I dyed my beard in the shower, and I got the shower curtain, a bunch of beard dye on it. So I ruined the shower curtain, which is $22.
What could be worse?
Okay, I don't know.
Right.
She is pissed.
Yeah.
So she says, you're going to buy a new one. And I don't do it for like 3 days. And finally, it's
Did
like...
you say I buy everything? Sorry to interrupt.
I wanted to say that. I said it's $22. But for her, it's the, what do you call it, the word? It's the
Principle?
Principle.
You should buy a really wacky one that has like
She
The
sent
universe on it.
She sent me the link so then I could just hit that little swipe thing that buys, and I don't care.
Gotcha.
So then it's sitting in our bathroom on the counter for a couple weeks. I haven't put it up to replace the other yet.
Yeah.
That I guess was a source of annoyance for her.
Yep.
So last night I get home and I walk in the door after a long day.
Ooh, okay.
And I also picked up groceries. So after my long day, I go, do all the shopping, come home. I'm ready to fall down. I walk in and I'm worried about my little dog, Winnie, who's she's peeing a lot. So she's on her last leg.
She hasn't had teeth in 10 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Filthy
I asked
creature.
my wife, hey, honey, I saw a little piece of roast beef in one of the drawers in the refrigerator. I want to give Winnie a nice little dinner tonight. She goes, oh, the one that you already been picking at for the last 2 days? And I've tried to lie and deny it, but I had, in fact, been picking away at that. She goes,
Can we pause?
yes.
What kind of cloud of fear do you live under that you needed to lie about eating roast beef that you purchased?
Well, she purchased that roast beef. She brought it home from like takeout or something.
Got it. And it was her roast beef?
Yeah.
You've mentioned that she gets kind of Gollum-like about food.
Oh, last night in this house. Well, I first tried denying it, but there was no lying, right? I said, maybe Grandpa Ruby ate it. And she's like, no, he didn't. I asked him.
A likely excuse. I think Pat might have drinking those Miller High Life.
No. So I just...
Last night after this fight.
I said, I'm tired. We're not discussing this. And she blew up. She talked about how disrespectful it is that I eat her food without asking permission. She talked about how we've had this conversation several times and she's tired of it. And what can she do to make it stop?
What conversation that you eat her food?
I come home and there'll be some French fries or something like that, and I'll pick at them. Or there'll be a salad with some chicken in it, and I'll just pick up all the chicken off the plate and eat them really fast.
Yeah, fries are okay. That's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my feeling. We're partners. We're married, and Dylan mentioned I pay for everything. So I would think that I don't need to call my wife. You would just understand that I came home after a long day, didn't have time to stop by something, and I just need to put nutrition in my body.
Sure.
I often play devil's advocate, and I'll do it here, even though then the fans just pile on. They're like, no, Pat's right. Fuck Cherie. Like, you're really painting quite the dossier against her. But when you do have leftover food, or at least me, a glutton who loves, like, the type of stuff that you will store in a refrigerator, you look
squishy cold.
You look forward to that when you're working, doing whatever you know it's there waiting for you. Get home and it's not there. I could see how that could.
Would you want to punch the partner?
Oh, absolutely not. I probably
Would you even mention it?
Well, Pat, here's the thing, though.
Maybe if she does just punch you one time, you'd stop.
And there's a pattern of successful marriages, and this could be a young man. What's the principle where you know a little bit and you think you're an expert?
Dunning-Kruger.
Young man Dunning-Kruger with marriage. But the patterns that I've seen, And there are rare exceptions where there's a give and a take and a give and a take. But most successful marriages kind of ride the wave into the afterlife together based on the complete concession and defeat of the man. So...
happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
Go fuck yourself.
Well,
with
that's
that.
why you have so much ire in your life. I think that you need to pick your battles. And if you know that your wife is a rabid, angry fucking German Shepherd when her food is consumed, which is a psychotic behavioral pattern, but you've committed to this woman. So why do you keep poking this bear if you know that World War III, 4, 5, and 6 will ensue after she finds the food consumed?
It's a great point. It's a subconscious thing that
You're fighting back.
Yes.
Lay down your sword.
Well, get this. It got worse. So we're not talking for an hour. So I go into the bedroom while she's in the bathroom. What I didn't know at the time was erecting the new shower curtain. And I'm prepping a PMZ. And I hear her smashing stuff and talking to herself.
The purposeful,
and she goes,
loud getting together.
Pat, get in here. And so I walk in there and she's like, I asked you to put this shower curtain up 3 days ago. And I said, honey, stop. What you're doing right now in fighting is you're flooding. Okay, that's a thing called flooding. She knows that I've been listening to this family therapist named Wendy Walsh, who is a genius. So I got all the terminology now.
You also got to read my Christmas present gift, 40 married couples, how to live. You haven't read my book. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Read my book.
It's hard to read. People take in information differently.
And
I
just
take it
really
audio.
quickly, I just quick qualm with the phrasing of that sentence. Not only is it not your book, it's authored by somebody else, but you picked it up out of a promotional bin of prospective guests for the Adam Carolla show. So.
Yeah, but there was a
the thought was there.
There was a number.
Not really.
There was a number of books in that pile of promotional books, and I picked one out specifically that I thought could help Pat.
Yeah.
I will. You are right. It is not my book. I did not author it.
So get this.
I didn't need to do that.
That pissed the wife off because she knows I've been listening to Wendy Walsh a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's super annoying, bringing up like therapy terms.
Well, so she said, you're not a fucking therapist. And I said, I know, honey.
Yeah.
But what we're fighting now, we're not fighting against each other. We're fighting to win for the relationship.
Did you do this?
She said, get out.
Did you do this with a smirk?
No.
Did you do it ironically?
I did it earnestly.
You did.
I did. I've been using all this new terminology.
Can you explain flooding? Can I propose what I think it is? It's like stuff's building up, so then in one moment you kind of just let it all
the levees break.
Yes. So when you're in a relationship, when you're arguing, you have a best shot of fixing a behavior by letting it just be one thing as opposed to many, because then the person gets on the defensive and now they're fighting three different things that person hates about you as opposed to one.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me move on. So needless to say, we don't have a good night last night. We put on Married at First Sight. We finished the last hour of that, and then the wife went to bed. This morning she woke up. She said, I loved you. I think she realized that she'd gone too far with this behavior last night. And then, so last night would be considered the down part of our relationship, the bad part. Now, I'm going to...
the bad part wasn't the screaming about the shower curtain?
No, that's the bad part. I'm saying that's the bad part.
Oh,
now I'm going
got
to talk about why I love my wife.
Got it.
So about an hour ago, my wife sent me this photo in a text. This is it's actually a video that she walked up on. So this is what my wife does all day. She whips out her phone.
Now this isn't going to get political, is it, Pat?
No, it's not at all.
Okay.
So it's not political because it's about what you see on the car, but what her thought is why this exists. Mm-hmm. So Dylan, describe what you're seeing.
Honda Fit.
Mm-hmm. It's a car.
Affordable vehicle. With a Bernie sticker and...
From 2016.
From 2016, in love with the stripper. Although, Bernie is one of those true ideologues, uncorruptible, I think. In my opinion. Let's not get political. There is another sticker here that looks to be printed on a larger piece of paper than 8.5 by 11, and it says, "One strong and visible rape victim, woman of color." Mm-hmm. Okay, so speaking of therapy, this kind of peacocking of pain is the markings. This is sorry for not being able to speak right now, but this person...
Or you're trying not to get in trouble.
This person is... I don't give a fuck. This person's had a tough life, clearly. Being raped is never a fun thing, you know?
Are we sure there's not a G that wore off and she was possibly one strong, invisible grape victim? Woman of color?
That's a really good point, and we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Even the spacing.
But this person is a fucking full-blown lunatic. Full-blown lunatic. People who put politicians' merch on their cars, you can be a little suspect of them, but that doesn't indicate that you're a lunatic. Putting the fact that you were raped and your race on your car so that everyone can see is crazy.
All right,
long-winded,
so would you like to hear what my wife said after? So she put like a little commentary to the photo. She said, "I bet this is a drug trafficker," which made me laugh.
That is funny.
Because
it's a perfect cover.
What cop
right
is walking up to this car? This car could run over a 90-year-old woman walking on a crosswalk, and cop sees that. No fucking way I'm touching that.
What that old lady do to her, you know?
So anyway, that is why I love my wife, is because she would see something like this, and her theory is that this person is a drug smuggler, and they would put that on their car to sway any potential law enforcement from walking up to her.
Sure. Yeah, she reminded you that she's your best friend.
Yes, and we have the same kind of thought processes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's bonding.
So now we're on the positive end of the spectrum?
That's positive.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to fuck tonight?
Tomorrow night we're gonna get a hotel.
Ooh, where are you going?
Just down the street at the Beverly Garland, where Bravo puts up all their.
What is it about hotel sex? Because if you think about it, it's you walk into.
I knew that they weren't gonna have sex tonight. Tonight's Paquito Mas night.
Yeah, tonight's Paquito Mas night.
Too much onions on our bread.
Yeah, and a lot of charcuterie at Laurel Tavern. So that you walk into a hotel room, there's a freedom of it not being yours. Mm-hmm. There's also a cleanliness about it. You know, it's
yeah, you could eat off our bedroom floor at home, Dale.
Right, but I guess I understand that the linens are washed and that people take care, especially in a nicer establishment. But there's also this kind of apparitional kind of imprint to me of all the other people who have eaten ass on the bed. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's kind of gross a little bit.
Well, it also might have some pheromones in there of all the sex that happens in there.
Sure,
I don't know, biology,
intoxicating. Yeah.
But mainly it's because it's a place that's not your home. It's a new location. Therefore, it's as close as you can get to banging a new partner.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you do doggy, it's like pretty much the same thing.
Here, wear this wig.
Yes. Speaking of that, I want to talk about masturbation on another podcast show. Check it out at patreon.com, but it's another form of cheating on your wife.
One last note. By the way,
allowed.
I didn't do my wife's joke justice. I could tell because you guys didn't laugh. She posted this and went ... definitely a drug trafficker.
I mean, Cherie's not that funny.
Right.
I thought it was really funny. It was like the delivery. I was like, I don't know. I heard it wrong, but that's funny.
It's funny.
Now, I do want to say something, and on any political leaning or what bands you're into or whatever, putting stickers on your car.
Wild move.
I don't think there's any upside to it.
No.
Maybe if you're a Bernie, you got the burn, you drive by a fellow burner that has that sticker and you honk each other and there's a little bit of camaraderie for a moment. I don't know.
Right.
But I think it's far more dangerous that you'll end up with a full McDonald's Diet Coke smashed against your window.
That, or you honk and then the other person next to you is like, oh, do you want the nuclear family abolished? And you're like, whoa, no, I like Bernie. Don't you like Bernie? And they McDonald's again in your car.
Right.
And try to think of one person in your life which you're like, oh, I like strive to be them. They're a great example, super successful. Who does that to their car? Mm-hmm. It's
so
a self-selecting group.
Why do strangers need to know about you?
Narcissism.
Because you have friends and family, right? And they know things about you. Shouldn't that be enough satiating of your identity? People know who you are, the people you love. Why do people need to see this stuff? I can't talk today.
If you're listening to this and you have bumper stickers in your car, let us know in the comment sections why. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Oh, and I love my wife. very, very much, and I'm a happily married man. It's just we have our little moments, as does every relationship.
Of course, and I would say that you walking into that bathroom last night and talking about flooding, I would say that that's an all-time backfire.
Good segue, Dylan.
Yeah, Nick's phone is going off.
Great segue, Dylan. So I wanted to talk about all-time backfires, like Dylan mentioned, and it's in honor of, I don't know if, I'm sure you guys heard about this, Neil Young put up a stink about his music being on Spotify for Joe Rogan, quote-unquote, helping spread disinformation. Spotify, not only did they not acquiesce to his threat, the next day they proactively were like, fine, and they removed all his stuff from Spotify.
Yeah, and evidently Spotify's, I saw something last night that they've shut down their online customer chat because it's just getting bombarded with like, why do you guys have Joe Rogan? Why do you guys have Joe Rogan? I do think that Joe Rogan's, he's the Kool-Aid of Texas is kind of running through him a little bit. He's pretty aggro about a lot of stuff. You started listening to that Jordan Peterson interview. I mean, what is fucking going on here? I don't want to get political, but
don't get political.
We're losing our minds here. 4.5 hours of almost nonsense.
Now, Nick, this segment's called Ultimate Backfire.
All-time backfires.
Okay, now it could be, although I heard some interesting information about Neil Young. He has his own music platform.
I did, and yeah, he's had his issues with Spotify for a long time. First, he was complaining they didn't have a high enough sound quality.
That's right.
But what else? What more info do you have on this? And just FYI, nothing in my segment has any more to do with Neil Young.
Well, he just got a week's worth of free promotion that he's being pulled off Spotify, and if you want to hear Neil Young music, you have to go over to his platform to hear. The bit quality, I guess, is something that
I'm surprised you're not more of a conspiracy theorist, because you usually do kind of.
That's not conspiratorial. That this was diabolical on Neil Young's part.
He's
a thirsty motherfucker.
Well,
remember that story I did on
conspiracy
PMZ where him and
theorists would
Daryl
argue
Hannah
it's
announced that she was pregnant?
But that was fake.
Yeah, it was fake.
What's your point?
Well, he's thirsty.
I believe your theory, and to don the TFC even more,
Yeah.
I bet if you dug into it, Spotify probably has some investment in his. Like, no one cares about any of this right now. Spotify absolutely will go whichever way the wind blows that they think will make them more money.
It's good bottom line business, but really quickly, can I say, Neil Young, why are you complaining about bit rates? It's folk music. Do you really need like...
Yeah, but they squashed the files on Spotify so much. There is an audible difference between listening to it on a record player with great speakers and listening to it in your earphones, even because it's been digified.
Whom?
To the more
the audio files out there.
To the audio files, which are,
and but also
14 of them in California.
If you have Spotify Premium, you can listen on full quality. They give you that option.
What's Neil Young's music platform, and why would anybody do that? It's like going up against a titan. Neil Young has bad business decisions.
I don't know about that. You get this. You know that song? It's from his 1969 album Harvest. It's, oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you.
I was singing it last night.
I always thought, because I didn't have a good relationship with my father, that the song was about his dad.
Yeah.
And even though you can't stand your dad, I was actually, what do you call it, where I'm putting my own emotional bullshit. Projections on the lyrics of that song.
That's the beautiful thing about art.
It is, right.
Yeah.
But then lyrics actually, the person that wrote them will actually sometimes tell you what they meant by the song. And in this case, when Neil Young was a millionaire by the time he was 20.
Yeah.
And he went up to Northern California and he bought like 20 acres of property.
Right.
And he hated the guy that sold him it because he gave him shit like, oh, you're a fucking young little musician. Like, what are you doing up here buying all this property? And that song, Old Man, is about the guy who gave him shit about buying all that land up there.
Well, no, that's not
about
what,
his father.
That's not what it's about.
And Pat learned that on Folk Genius.
It's about your dad.
Oh, right. It's about my dad.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story where I had...
Eye of the Beholder.
This is really sad, but I'll put a cap on it.
No.
My dad came to my college my freshman year and stayed in my dorm because most of my roommates were gone. And we're having a couple beers, so it's pretty cool to be drinking a beer with your dad, right? And we start.
Wouldn't know.
Oh, sorry, Nick. Well, maybe, or you could have had my dad. He.
I don't like drinking with my dad. He gets too drunk when we're drinking. I'm like, ugh, you're like 70. Why are you?
I would have loved to have Peter as if
I would love to drink too much with your dad.
Yeah, no, dad's fun.
So get this, I start digging in, because I don't know much about their past, my parents, with meeting my mom and all. And I asked him, I said, Dad, how'd you meet Mom? Oh, well, I was working at a restaurant. She was the waitress, blah, 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 blah. And he's got a little buzz on. And he goes, when your mother got pregnant with you, I was trying to talk her into an abortion, but she wouldn't do it. She said she thought it was going to be a girl, and she always wanted a girl. And I was thinking, you're admitting to me that you didn't want me to live. Maybe you've had too many of those.
You tried to have me killed.
He actually said it. And by the way, he woke up the next morning, he got in his car, and he drove off, and I didn't see him for 17 years after that.
Super sad. So
I think you could pigeonhole that into being an all-time backfire.
All-time backfire.
Yeah.
But before we move on to all-time backfires, I saw this meme the other day of Elon Musk saying, my kids did not choose to be born. I chose to have them. They owe me nothing. I owe them everything. Which was a very, very beautiful, sweet sentiment. But then I was kind of thinking about it. What all parents do for their children is pretty incredible, actually. They give them the gift of existing, which life is hard. We're on this rock floating through space, but what a fluky, beautiful present to give your child, that they now exist. So moving forward, when I do have children, I'll make sure to hold that over their head when they get to an age that they can understand the weight of that. It's really beautiful.
Wendy Walsh would say that actually you owe them a safe environment with loving parents.
Yeah.
An education.
Yes.
An upper education in college. And then after that, you owe them zero.
Right.
No inheritance.
All-time backfire.
I don't even think you owe them the post-secondary education. College is worthless and a sham.
You got another one?
What?
Oh, well, the whole segment is about all-time backfires.
Again, the segment...
We just went off on a fucking
The segment
tangent.
had nothing to do with Neil Young at all.
Oh,
that was the germ.
I have historical all-time backfires. So,
Okay,
there's
let's get into
quite
it.
a bit more.
Yeah.
The Mets deferred buyout of Bobby Bonilla. Now
He's dead.
You guys know Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's 58 years old, alive and well. Now,
I'm thinking of Tony Gwynn.
Do you mean he's dead?
no, he's alive and well,
Oh, that's
58
weird.
years old. And a lot of people know about Bobby Bonilla Day. I actually thought you guys would laugh because
I had his rookie baseball card.
Thinking, are
I
you sure
did
you
laugh.
didn't have Tony Gwynn's? 58-year-old Bobby Bonilla.
Stop yelling.
He wants to get to his segment, but I will say I laughed because I have almost no knowledge of the Mets and their franchise's
I'm going to get a
history,
claw.
or who Bobby Bonilla is. That's why I laughed, because it was
A designated
so
hitter or
funny.
first base? Oh.
well, he said we have to vamp, and then you asked him a direct question when he was off the mic.
Incredible. When I got up, nothing to say. But I have no doubt when I dive into this backfire here.
Hey, Pat, me and you, time out, 30 seconds.
got
No, I don't really. I want you guys to participate. I don't want to be. I don't know. 50-year-old Bobby Bonilla. He every July 1st from 2011 to 2035, he collects a check from the New York Mets for $1.193 million.
Oh, my
And this is all from when they bought him out of his contract in 2000 for $5.9 million. They thought they had it made because at the time, Mets ownership was heavily invested in Bernie Madoff's
Oh, my God.
in which they were promised double-digit returns.
Yes.
So instead of just buying him out for $5.9 million, they gave him 8% interest and said we will buy it out from 2011 to 2035. And obviously Bernie Madoff did not work out, and Bobby is still collecting that money. And I don't know how it happened, but he's also collecting $500,000 every year from 2004 to 2028 from the Baltimore Orioles. But that's an all-time backfire by the New York Mets
all-time backfire, and this is where the all-time backfire begins. You know, Bernie Madoff was a crook and a demon, truly. No empathy. Zero empathy whatsoever. But when someone says, I'll double your money consistently every quarter, every year in the stock market.
Believe them and hand over your money.
You have to go, huh? What are you, a wizard? It's not going to work out. But this is a lot like, is OBJ in one of your all-time backfires?
No.
OBJ took his salary from the Rams in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin took a shit.
Is this Odell Beckham?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a great all-time
backfire.
$500,000. He actually got paid 7 figures from Cash App to do so. So it didn't really work out. But like, if you did the math, he ended up getting $36,000 in crypto from his $500,000
Well, did he sell off the
contract.
crypto?
You can't sell now. It's taking a shit. But
he hasn't lost anything. It will go up. It's it's like a wave. It goes
no,
up
he
and
has lost because he. Well, yeah, it goes up and down. It goes up and down.
So he hasn't lost anything.
Well, currently
they
he's
famously
at a loss.
asked, who's the big billionaire?
Mark Cuban.
No, older.
It's not a loss until you sell.
You got it.
But what was I gonna say about OBJ? Yeah, I think there's a lot wrong with that meme because when your salary you get weekly, so I'm pretty sure every week he gets paid the dollar amount salary in whatever the price of Bitcoin is at that time.
Yeah, that's what I think he has lost money actually, because he's getting paid in cash based off of the Bitcoin rate. You're talking about Berkshire Hathaway. Who's the guy?
Yes,
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Is that who you're talking about? Anyways,
30-second timeout.
Bobby Bonilla. All-time backfire by the Mets there.
ATB.
But yeah, Bobby Bonilla Day is now it's celebrated in jest by Mets fans every year. The 4 Pests campaign.
4 Pests.
This was one of the first actions taken in the Great Leap Forward in China from 1958 to 1962. These are all over the map, these backfires.
Literally.
So they wanted to eliminate, Mao Zedong had a plan to eliminate rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows.
I think I know what's going to happen here.
Specifically, the sparrow holocaust that they ushered in resulted in a severe ecological imbalance, being one of the causes of the Great Chinese Famine, because they were the natural. They thought they were taking them away because they ate grain, but which they did. But they also ate locusts. So locusts went wild and destroyed way more crops than the sparrows ever could.
You fuck with Gaia, you're fucking with yourself. You know what I mean?
You could also argue that the Great Leap Forward was an all-time backfire, but they're doing okay now, just at the cost of what, like
this
750,000 people?
This is China,
Or
right?
excuse me,
China.
750 million?
Well, they're not at their 100-year mark. They said they were going to take over the planet by 100 years. So they're about
30 years away?
Yeah, I think so.
And honestly, I know they've had some hiccups, but I feel like they're well on their way. But
No, they're doing good. If we just made it illegal to trade with them, they would wither and die. But we can't do that because Nike's going to make a profit. Let's not get political.
These are in no specific order, by the way. These are just some all-time backfires. This one in Friends season 5, episode 20, when Ross, Chandler, and Joey were doing a ride-along with Phoebe's boyfriend at the time, Gary, played, of course, by Michael Rappaport. They were doing a ride-along, and a car backfired. And they thought it was a gunshot.
Right.
And Joey leapt and he covered up Ross. And Chandler was super offended because he thought, why didn't Joey try to save me, his best friend?
Great sitcom.
At the end of the episode, it turns out Joey actually leapt to protect his sandwich. Wow. Classic episode. So that's an all-time backfire. A literal car backfire this time.
Yeah, and again, all over the map because we're back stateside, but and back in New York City, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Full circle.
Two more backfires, all-time backfires. This one, I'm sure you guys have heard about it. We've talked about it a number of times. The Barbara Streisand effect.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting your hair?
You've never heard of the Barbra Streisand effect?
Is it when you cut your hair?
No, it's when you call attention to a problem that no one knows about, and now everyone knows about.
Yeah,
Oh.
in an attempt to repress information, you actually broadcast it to a much
interesting.
larger net.
Kind of the Neil Young effect, but a little bit different.
Yes. So Barbra Streisand, there was a photographer for Pictopia.com in like 2003. He put a picture on this website that had 12,000 pictures of coastline houses, and the whole idea behind it was to show the erosion of the coastline to help policymakers put in place to protect the ocean.
Yeah.
So she was a needle in a haystack of these pictures. She found out her picture was on there. She sued, and up to that point, that picture had only been viewed 6 times. Twice was by Barbra Streisand attorneys.
Right.
After the
So 4 times.
After the lawsuit went public, in the next month it was viewed 420,000 times.
Yeah.
And now everybody has seen it.
Yeah.
That's an all-time backfire.
You know, and one little thing with that, and you know I'm not a political person or anything, but it's interesting that a lot of celebrities that have something to say about like water rising because of climate change sure want to buy properties in Malibu.
That's a great point.
Dude,
that
and
it's off not talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point. But speaking of, sorry, it's talking over too much. I'm working on it. But there's this Paris Hilton show that just came out.
Cooking with Paris?
Maybe it's golf, the golf place, Dylan.
Why is Gary calling me right now? Okay, so
He probably wants to know what show
Phoebe's
you're supposed to
boyfriend?
put that ad
he's
in.
not supposed to put any ad in yet, and I haven't sent him the ad, so I don't know what he's calling about, but I'll call him after.
Phoebe's boyfriend?
Yes, Phoebe's boyfriend.
Just call him Michael Rappaport.
Played by Michael Rappaport. Paris Hilton has this new show, and it's about her getting ready to get married. My wife was watching it the other night. They just bought this lovely home directly on the beach in Malibu. I don't know what it's worth, probably north of $4 or $5 million.
Dylan, no. Anything on the ocean is 20 and over. It's even if it's a shit box. My wife knows about this because
Really?
that's where all our business is.
God, it looked like a small house. They
Doesn't
all
matter.
look like small houses. So that just lends even more credence to the insanity of this real estate buy. These people are crammed on top of one another. I mean, you look to your right and it's lit. There's a house with one of those Miami Vice opaque glass balconies, gross, to your fucking right, and it's the same thing
Speaking
to
of
your
your
left.
gross,
They're all on top of one another. It's
You can be
fucking
making
insane.
duty, and the other house is in his living room. He's like, "Hey, shut the fuck up!"
Yeah,
you can hear it.
They're so close. And then you take your walk on the beach because that's why you pay the $20 million, right? And it's not beautiful or anything. It's just, it's like trying to hit a pin tucked back against a collar. There is no room to fucking breathe. It's the shoreline and then 50 feet and then just stilts of other houses. It's just an insane bomb.
I would never want to live there because of the overcast. A lot of people don't realize
Oh,
that
yeah.
don't live in California, or maybe they don't live near the ocean. Every morning you wake up for the first 4 hours where it would be sunny
Seattle.
otherwise. It's fucking overcast, miserable with
Yeah.
a fog.
Yeah,
Fuck
you can't
that.
see anything.
I'm a person that is very dependent on it being sunny and warm weather for my mental health.
Yeah.
It's the number one reason I refuse to move out of the apartment I'm paying too much for, because it's 360 degrees of sunlight coming in my window all day.
Right.
I can't sleep in at all, but
Right,
I don't
right.
I don't need it. I get vitamin D. That's what energizes me.
100%.
Last all-time backfire.
Last all-time backfire. Lastly, because I think I want to talk about Vanessa Hudgens' Architectural Digest tour at some point. I'm just confused about how she's made this much money. But there are Vanessa Hudgens. I don't know. There are so many beautiful places to live in Los Angeles, especially for the rich. They have access to all these little pockets of the city that other people don't have access to. Why you would be so basic, chuggy, and stupid with your money, just plop your shit on the beach. It's just crazy.
Oh, she did it too?
No, Paris did. Vanessa Hudgens lives in a gated community in Los Feliz that I had no idea existed.
Oh, I didn't even know they had gated communities there.
This is what I'm talking about. So go ahead.
Me neither. Yeah, there are all these like hidden.
Oh my God!
But then if you think about
do a little work
when you're driving around the city, there'll be these pockets you could just kind of drive around them. You never really go through them. And when you think about it, that's where those neighborhoods are. There's no reason to go in them.
Right.
I want to live by the ocean, but only in like the utopian like. If it was perfect, but all the reasons you said and the fact that I'm not probably ever going to have a $20 million home.
How do you know?
I actually think, I don't know why I just said that. I actually do think I'm going to have a $20 million home. It sounded a little bit full. But anyways, for those reasons, I'm not going to live by the ocean, even though
all the salt.
But
the people are the worst out there too. Ugh. You got to see Judd Apatow, that douchebag.
That would be horrible. Although it'd be good content.
Last all-time backfire.
The Cobra effect. When India was under... It's another ecological backfire.
Disaster, yeah.
When India was under British rule, the British government was concerned... And there's not a ton to back this one up as being real, but it's kind of an anecdote people use. The Streisand effects are really the present-day example of what is actually called perverse incentive. When you guys can figure it out. You're good at context clues.
Context clues.
The British government was concerned about the number of venomous cobras in Delhi, so they offered a bounty for every dead cobra.
Yeah.
But then the more entrepreneurial members of Delhi started capturing them and then breeding them so they can turn in the heads of the cobras to make more
very
money.
Industrious.
Oh, that is industrious. I thought it was going to go another way and that the morgues were overflowed, but then I was thinking there really aren't that many morgues there. They just shit, piss, bathe, and throw their dead in the Ganges. So
ultimate example of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Perverse incentive, specifically. So then, when the government finally realized this wasn't working because they're like, Jesus, we had more than we thought.
Yeah.
We're going to cancel this.
5 times more venomous cobras than we thought.
Then the people who were entrepreneurs had all these snakes in their home that they just let go.
Right.
And the problem was that much worse.
Wow. India is such a paradise. George Harrison went there for a reason. Everybody go vacation there. We'll be back next week. Jump to the iTunes ratings and reviews. Please, if you have not done so, leave 5 stars and kind words. Join us on patreon.com/another podcast network for an extra one of these a week, plus our upcoming recap of season 2 of Netflix's Love is Blind, a failed romantic experiment hosted by Vanessa and Nick Lachey. We'll see you next week. I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
If you guys, Pat always asks you guys for content. If you guys know any examples of historical all-time backfires, whether they be literal or things that went awry, let me know. DM me. Comment. Don't comment because I want to surprise Dylan and Pat.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Pat?
Bye.